was an ordinary Tuesday morning. The bread was baking. The wine was being measured. Children were arguing over who would carry the water jug. Nobody in Pompeii, not a single soul, looked up at the mountain. But here is what history has never told you. They had already seen the signs. They had watched the wells run dry for 12 days. They had watched the fish float dead in the harbor for a week. And 10 years earlier, in 62 AD, a massive earthquake had shaken this city to its foundations. The Romans rebuilt it, grander than before, because Romans did not flee. Romans did not flinch. That pride, that magnificent, tragic Roman pride, would become their tomb. Pompeii was not just a city, it was the beating commercial heart of southern Italy. 40,000 people, merchants from across the empire, a city of bakeries, brothels, law courts, theaters, and temples, all thriving under the shadow of a mountain so fertile that the soil itself seemed like a gift from the gods, Vesuvius. They did not even have a word for volcano. The concept did not exist in the Roman mind. It is August 24th, 79 AD. The date we learned in school. But what they never taught you is this. It may not even be August. A cache of coins minted after June 79 AD was found in one victim's hand. Some scholars now believe the eruption happened in late October, in autumn, which means the victims were not in summer clothing. They were wrapped in heavy wool cloaks. They were bracing against a chill wind, and still, they did not run. The man who would become history's most important eyewitness was 17 years old and safely across the Bay of Naples. His name was Gaius Caecilius, and we know him by his pen name, Pliny the Younger. He would write the only surviving first-hand account of what happened. He watched his uncle, the great Admiral Pliny the Elder, sail toward the eruption, not away from it, to rescue survivors. Pliny the Elder would never return. Here is the twist that changes everything you thought you knew about Pompeii. The eruption did not kill most people immediately. The ash did not bury them alive in the first hour. For nearly 4 hours, from roughly 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., the eruption rained down pumice stone in a relentless gray blizzard. And in those 4 hours, thousands of people made the most fateful choice of their lives: to stay. We know this because archaeologists have found their remains not in random locations, but clustered, in doorways, in cellars, in the back rooms of houses. These people had gathered their most precious possessions. We found a woman clutching a small bag of gold coins and a silver mirror. We found a gladiator's barracks where 2 people died, locked in what appeared to be an embrace. We found a man face down in the street, not running away from the volcano, running toward it, toward the harbor. They were not caught by surprise. They made a calculated choice, and they chose wrong. Why? Because the first phase of the eruption was survivable. The ash was manageable. The buildings were still standing. Pompeii's citizens looked around, assessed the situation, and decided, this will pass. Romans were survivors of plagues, famines, and wars. They understood disaster. What they did not understand was that Vesuvius was not finished. It was only warming up. At approximately 1 a.m. on August 25th, in the black heart of the night, Vesuvius did something that had never been recorded in human history. It collapsed. The volcanic column, nearly 30 kilometers tall, shooting rock and fire into the stratosphere, fell. And when a volcanic column of that magnitude collapses, it produces a pyroclastic surge. Not ash, not rock. A wave. A superheated avalanche of gas and volcanic debris traveling at 700 kilometers per hour at temperatures exceeding 300 degrees Celsius. It reached Pompeii in seconds, literally seconds. And here is the major reveal, the truth that forensic archaeology has finally confirmed. The plaster casts we have seen in museums for 250 years, those haunting human shapes frozen in ash. They are not people who were buried by ash and slowly suffocated. They were killed instantaneously. The thermal shock was so intense that their muscles contracted in a heat cadaveric spasm. Every single person in Pompeii died at the exact same moment. The baker, the senator, the slave, the gladiator, the infant. In one single, undiscriminating instant, death came for all of them equally. Rome, the most hierarchical society in the ancient world, was erased without distinction. The city did not burn, it did not flood, it did not crumble slowly. Pompeii was flash frozen in a single breath of the mountain. And that is why, nearly 2,000 years later, we can still read the graffiti on the walls. We can still see the ruts carved by chariot wheels in the stone streets. We can still see the last meal left half-eaten on a tavern counter. Pompeii is not a tragedy about nature's indifference to human life. It is a story about certainty, the most dangerous thing a human being can possess. The certainty that the mountain has always been there, that today will be like yesterday, that the strange signs can be explained away, that it is always safer to stay than to run. The mountain is still there. It has not erupted since 1944. 3 million people now live in its shadow. Scientists call it one of the most dangerous volcanoes on Earth, and every morning they bake bread, they measure their wine, and they do not look up. Some things, it seems, never change.